Hey, what's up, you guys? Thanks for joining us today for another episode here on Hotenera Outdoors. Sorry.
Oh, right. Gideon's Tactical. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. I'm hanging out with Aaron, so this is the Aaron and Aaron episode today from Hotenera Outdoors. He's the designer with his brother of the Brush Wolf from Tops. So we've done a video on that. You guys can go check out the link below. But I'm excited to have him here on a backpacking trip with me. And we're going to go through with you today and break down the Tops Knives Fieldcraft 3.5, or the Tops Bob Mini. Maybe a lot of people know it by.
Mini Bob.
Yeah, so this is just the smaller version of the iconic Bob design that Tops has manufactured for years now. And so right out of the gate, one of the biggest questions you and I were talking about is like, why would I get a smaller 3.5 inch cutting edge 3.75 blade? Why would I get a smaller Bob? Like, why don't I just go with the full size?
So the reason I like this blade a lot, so they shrunk it down, they took the Shango notch off the back, they thinned it down so it's a 5/32 Scandivex, 3.5 inches. But the 5/32 Scandivex provides you with a ton of strength. So as you'll see in the video, we beat the crap out of this thing and it just keeps on ticking. But it comes in at 5.53 ounces. So for us backpacking out here in Wyoming, and it was funny because we're like weighing our packs, like, what's your weight? And we're counting ounces and pounds, because we're going way out and coming out to this spot. So having a companion blade to take with like a machete or a bigger blade, and then to have a small one which can still do a lot of your tasks with forearm size firewood prep, this thing will do it. So it was pretty cool. Like just smashing on this thing.
I really enjoyed seeing how it was able to basically span most kindling that you would want to like break down into tinder.
Yeah, anything like forearm size.
Yeah, like 3 inches. I mean, if you span it, you can crack this thing open, and we were just thumping on it. It was fun to like split that down and get it into kindling size, and then be able to just pound on it to do other stuff. It's not heavy enough or large enough to do chopping that we noticed, but you can do side splitting. If you have a baton stick already prepared, we had like freaking war club, right? But we were able to side split through stuff real easy, and you can pound on that spine. You're not going to be like, oh man, am I going to break this thing? So that part was really cool to see. But then also I really liked, and you can talk a little bit just about like edge and edge performance. When we were doing a lot of our firework, like fuzz sticks and stuff, preparing for a fire, the Scandivex, I've always enjoyed the way that Tops is able to do it, and particularly because the blade stock's thinner, it so nice. It slices
really good, and it's super strong. Like I have the regular Tops Bob, the Puko, obviously this one, the Bracamo. Those are all the Scandivex, and I can just smash on those edges, and I've never even dinged one of these edges. All I do it is like I'll strop it to just mirror polish that edge again after a weekend of hard use.
Where you would definitely see damage on like a true Scandi on a lot
a true Scandi would roll and chip.
Yep, real quick with the amount of abuse you're seeing, even as we're talking and rolling in, you would have to be tuning that up, and you just wouldn't be doing that. So it gives you a lot of the performance of a Scandi in the sense of like really fine work. And we were working with some really crappy pine. That pine was so knotted,
wet,
twisted, like it is not fun, but it makes that finer work easy because of just the way
it was doable.
Yeah, it was definitely, whereas a lot of other blades would just be like, forget it, we got to find some other piece of wood. So that's pretty sweet. Obviously, like tips, strength, all that stuff that we did with that regard.
Super robust tip on this thing. I mean, I was stabbing it in and prying with it. It's not going anywhere. It's a mini workhorse is what this thing is. That's why, or have it in your rotation of blades. It's a great small belt knife. So I would even call it a survival knife, because if this was all I had, I can
do a lot
with all my wood prep for fire, in an emergency.
And that companion aspect comes in. You think of the full-size Bob, that's kind of like a dedicated blade. Yes, you can absolutely get like a big chopper, but I'm way more likely to carry something like this size, in this mini Bob size, with a large blade in tandem, versus taking a full-size bob and then say like an 8-inch blade. I'm less likely to do those two, and that's where some of the benefit to this design comes in.
It comes with the 90-degree spine, and then it also comes coated. So if you don't care for the 90-degree spine, you have that option.
And it'll
So that's
save
pretty
you a
cool,
little bit too, because how much did you pay for yours?
Mine was like $127
Okay, and
on Smoky Mountain.
Okay, and then I think I paid like 105 maybe or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So we'll have a bunch of links throughout the video for you guys that you can take a look at if you want to. So it will save you a little bit. So if for whatever reason throwing 90s, and throwing sparks is not that important to you.
But also remember the tip on the
correct
even the coated one, that top ½ inch, you can throw sparks no problem with the one that doesn't have the 90-degree spine.
The difference that we noticed particularly is because this one will also come with Topps' kind of redone fire steel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all just one big piece. Obviously having a fully 90'd spine just is going to give you a lot more places to work with, just easier to throw the sparks and get the, more likely to get the fire going quicker, and it will come with the rod as well. So that is something just to kind of consider when you're looking at the tool. And now with the handle, you get that really cool pattern of the micarta with the red liners that pop. And it's going to be about 4.375 on the overall length, so that's a really good length. I can easily get my full-size large hands on there, plenty of room to spare.
Extra large.
You got XL, right? So I mean, that's really good.
Feels great.
The thickness is going to be 0.5, and then I believe it's 0.8 from top to bottom there. So I mean, it's on the narrower side, but that's what you're wanting. You're wanting that compact, light blade, and it feels good, and it doesn't feel too small for all the harder work that we were doing. With that and the good guard, that's really going to lock you into place, and you're pretty close to the edge. So you can, but I've never felt like I needed to like choke up and I can't do any of this work. I'm like right there. Now, one thing that we both noticed is that, this has Topps more heavy duty traction on the jimping, and it's pretty aggressive. And about 25% of the time when you're doing certain types of cuts, your fingers are right there on it, and it bites. And for the style of blade in future runs, it'd be awesome just to see a dialed down jimp, or just delete the jimp altogether. Something like that would just be excellent to see. It's not unbearable, but at certain points you're like, man, I just wish that this was dialed back or just non-existent, and that would just take it from 10 to 11, cranking it up to 11 on the ergos. But I know there's some other aspects like the bow drill hole. Tell us a little bit about that. You're like the wizard on that.
So yeah, I do bow drills with a lot of my Topps knives. I did one in our Puko review that we did. On this particular knife, it's kind of seated far back. You can still do it, and you can get that downward pressure that you need, but it would be awesome if it was centralized. So if Topps in future runs actually moved this piece of hardware and put it here, and then moved the bow drill to the center, and then mellowed out the jimping, because I don't really mind the aggressive jimping. I never wear gloves. It is kind of like, it is a hard use utility blade, so I understand both sides. Like, bushcrafters like mellow jimping, more like tactical or operators would want a more aggressive jimping just for grip, and like you're probably wearing gloves. So I mean, you could take it from a 10 to an 11 with, the jimping like you were saying. It'd be cool if these two features were swapped. I love the lanyard hole. The big size lanyard hole is key. Other than that, man, it's a fun tool.
Let me put it that way. Like, you get this little tiny tool in your hand, and usually, like smaller tools, it's like, let me just do like a fuzz tick and maybe like a tent peg or something. But it's like you can really get a lot of that heavier work done if you had to. Yeah. Obviously not ideal. A bigger blade for bigger tasks is great.
We were cross batoning, just splitting stuff that was like, silver dollar size, and just pounding through it. And I mean, my edge is still, I can see, the mirror polish all the way through, like not a single ding after all that abuse.
And that's 1095, obviously.
Yeah,
like
1095.
That Topps does.
Awesome.
And so like what I would say is, either if you just like really compact fixed blades, and that's like what you do like around your property maybe or something, and you like prefer those over pocket knives, then definitely it's a great option, because it's almost like the size of a large pocket knife, but obviously full full tang and everything else. But also like if you pair this with like those bigger 7+ inch blades, you know, I'm thinking of like the Power Eagle or something,
or it's
you
a
know,
home field knife
yeah,
or
or something.
yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's for all my super heavy duty stuff. But then I want to like do a lot of the finer work. Boom, then you have this, you know, piggybacking with it to do that finer stuff.
Yeah, super awesome piggyback blade. I would take this out with any of the larger blades, my Brush Wolf or my Tahoma or whatever I feel like carrying for that weekend. This would be an awesome piggyback blade.
Yeah,
and it's been on my belt this whole trip. Like I haven't moved it.
Yeah, for backpacking particularly with
yeah.
that, like going back to those ounces and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a great little like, okay, I want
5.53 ounces was it?
Yes, plus sheath. So you know it's probably like 7 total, maybe 6.5. And that Kydex sheath, excellent.
So it's light, which
yeah.
is awesome.
And
light and tough.
Yeah, got a lot of mounts, you know, so that was good too, particularly for backpacking. You know, I'm like, I got to be able to mount this externally somewhere where I can grab it quick.
Yeah.
And we were both able to carry it on our belts, you know,
yeah,
while we were doing that.
The spring clip. You can clip it on anywhere.
Right. So before we wrap up on this quick rundown of the mini bob, some competitive options kind of consider in that same price range and stuff in the same size range is like the top Scandi Trekker. I did a review on that a long time ago. You know, you get a leather sheath with that one. I believe that's going to be an 1/8 though. It has the same grind, but it does have an 1/8, so it's a little bit thinner, so possibly slicier, but not as tough. And that handle is very unique to a hammer grip, basically. So this one you can do a lot more different grips, and they just tend to feel a little more natural. Yeah. There's also the Tops Puko. That's right around the same, but that's going to be an 1/8. So slicey, not quite as tough. Yeah. That's what's interesting about this blade to me, is that it's still slicey, it still works, it's still tough. I mean, it's still compact, but it's very tough. Abnormally tough for the size of fixed blade. Yeah. So, but also like an SE3, you know, I don't really care for the choils on such a tiny knife, but those are like other blades that you might want to consider that are in this size range, USA made, 1095, you know, that you could look at.
Like 80 to 110 bucks
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, right around in there. And so, but of those, like this Fieldcraft definitely has a special place because of like its abilities.
It's a beast.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's fun for how small. Because you're like,
yeah.
Dude's not going to do it. And you're like, yeah, we're splitting it. Dude, it's not going to do that. Oh, yeah, well, you know, kind of thing. And so it's fun just like us working together, messing around with it. So, Aaron, dude, thanks so much for coming over today.
Dude, thanks for having me again on this trip.
You know, hanging out with us, not only on this multi-day, but just doing this video with me. It's fun doing it with somebody, you know, else that just loves blades. So, appreciate you guys so much. If you have any questions, leave comments below. We'd love to see feedback as well. If you own one of these mini bobs, I just like saying mini bob. I like that better than the Fieldcraft 3.5. It's just a big mouthful.
Everybody just knows it as the
bob. Right.
So.
Yeah.
Brothers of bushcraft.
Yeah. What? And in your opinion, you know, do you like full size, mini better? You know, they each have a special place and purpose, I feel. And so appreciate you guys. Check out the other video popping up. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared.
We'll see you out there.
Yeah, buddy.